I forgot, man. Man, that's my fault. That's my fault. Yeah, but I should have hit record right away. But
Now I was just wondering.
no, I'm glad you said something because we would have went the whole show and not even recorded it. And then, but
Yes.
peace everybody.
Hold on, Louis, 8
Peace.
o'clock.
Yeah.
Right, peace everybody. Like I said, another episode of the Bro Foundation. We have been chopping it up a little bit before I actually clicked on record. But what we're talking about today is just a matter of things that when it comes to health is highly important. This is of the utmost importance, and we're just kind of going over some different information and facts. We were just recently just talking about the Henrietta Lacks story, which if nobody is familiar, let's look that up really quick just to kind of give background. We were just talking about, the importance of, and actually what we can do to stay healthy in these days and times. I mean, talking about, trans fats. I heard you guys talking about trans fats and what exactly is, before we get to the Henrietta Lacks story, what is trans fat? What is, the difference between trans fat versus, natural or real, the good fat, so to speak, or whatever.
Trans fats is really with the especially with you can get cholesterol. It's coming from like the saturated fats from the meats that we eat. A lot of the grease, vegetables, oils and stuff like that. That actually it's bad for our arteries, clogs up our arteries, all that bad stuff. But like healthy fats like avocado and olive oil, those are like considered more better fats.
Okay.
Than the actual, the stuff that Big Mama used to use, Crisco and all the good, the good taste and stuff. It tastes good, but it's not good for the body. Too much of it, So I would say like moderation if you do get involved with it, but not too much of it because it'll clog your arteries up and you have some bad problems after that.
Yeah, definitely. And it seems like they have, because the society we kind of get into, I don't want to say a necessary phase, but all of a sudden you start hearing, like say, about gluten-free stuff. All of a sudden gluten-free became the big, the big selling point for a lot of different foods. I remember when I first started seeing, zero trans fat on packaging as well. And so it just seems like, especially in American-based society, that, organic, it's another big one that we always. So it just seems like there's always a big selling point when it comes to, all of a sudden we'll latch on to something and they'll drive it home. They'll, oh, it's gluten free or it's zero trans fat or it's this, it's that, and a lot of people don't even really know what it truly means. For, like I said, for the longest time, I guess, and it's good that they're always coming up with studies, and because for so long, a lot of people didn't know what their stomach issues were, but then they came up with studies and realized that it was gluten that was the cause of different stomach issues or health issues and allergens and stuff like that. So I guess it's in that aspect, it is definitely good that there's always some kind of study being done, but it just seems like it comes out of nowhere, sometime, and that could be frustrating to the point where you don't know what to eat anymore. You don't know what's good for you to eat, what you can and can't have. So yeah, it's important to, I guess, to understand a lot of these different things, but at the same time, it's how much do we want to focus on, because it seems like a lot of it comes from um, unnatural things, stuff that is full of preservatives, stuff that's full of, what's it, biochemically engineered foods and things like that. So really, it's just a matter of, like you said, just paying attention to what and just eating better, just eating, smarter food, just being smarter about what you put in your body. But it's just so difficult nowadays when, you know, so many different advertisements, so many different viral videos about this food, that food, and just different things. So it can be difficult out here to want to stay healthy because you're up against so many different obstacles, so many different pressures, not necessarily pressures, but just seeing so much, sensory overload. That's what I'm going to say. Sensory overload as far as all these different, they call, as I said, highly palatable foods, stuff that just tastes amazing, that looks like it tastes amazing. But then, like I said, the healthy stuff is good for you, but it might not taste the best. It might not look the best to the eyes, but we're just in such a time when everything is video based and people putting out different, like I said, different recipes. And I just seen something that couldn't even fathom it, but it was a hot Cheeto covered jambalaya ball, and the dude he had like he was in his car eating it, and there was three of them, but they each had a syringe. They each had it was three cheese filled syringes, like the liquid cheese that he squeezed inside inside of it. And like I said, it's just a red ball, but it's a jambalaya inside the Cheeto covered. It's it's just crazy. I mean, he bit into it, cheese and everything. You see the rice but it's just 10, 15, 20 years ago, you wouldn't have seen no stuff like this, you know? And it's like who comes up with all this different stuff? And it just makes it you see it and it's just like it looks appealing to the eyes and you're like, man, I want to try that. But damn well you shouldn't try that because it just screams high blood pressure. It just screams, high cholesterol and stuff like that. So we just it, as difficult as it is, we have to make sure that we are attempting to uh, be about what we choose to eat.
Yeah, that's facts, bro. So I saw something real interesting. I was looking at the life expectancy of between men and women earlier today, and they say the average woman from this was like a 2019 study, and they said the average women live up to 81 years old, and average men stays up to like between 74 and 76. A lot of them have been dying a little earlier too as well. And I thought that was interesting, and I digged a little deeper with it, and I was, went research, and it was talking about how much, like with women, they don't drink as much as us. They don't eat as much red meat sometimes as us. Um, they don't, a lot of them, a lot of us, we have very physical jobs, the men, especially back in the day too. They used to go in the cane fields, everything, bring all the bread home. And that was a lot of stress on the body, man. And it's like a lot of times where we add a lot of stress to ourselves, basically off of what we eat. And especially if we indulge in what we eating, it can also become that habit, and I had looked at, it says like 40% of men that get in their 40s, 45% of those I have like erectile dysfunction. And that actually comes from, like different, like eating potato chips and all snacks and stuff like that, that actually cause a lot of that problems. So what could we do as men, to, and as people, but we speak in generally from us because we are men. What could we do to change our eating habits and how can we live longer, and beat the statistic that's been placed upon us as men because of, our diets and stuff. So I thought that was interesting, man. Just seeing that, the life expectancy of a woman between a woman and a man, and a lot of it is what we eat too as well. So like we have to take care of our bodies, man.
Absolutely. I think a lot of biggest problem of our health, one is women tend to go to the doctor for smaller things a lot quicker than we do. We quick to, and it's just this macho thing that I don't know exactly when it starts getting inserted in your head. I don't know if you start watching your daddy or older people and you kind of you see them brush things off, and we in turn incorporate that in our lives, but we like, it's just a cold, it's fine, or it's just a bruise, it's all right. We pass off so much stuff that by the time we get to the doctor, hell, we ain't got about 4 more months to live. So then now you trying to backtrack a whole 30 or 40 years that you done ate what you wanted, did what you did want to do, or did not want to do. And now you're dealing with the repercussions of it at this point. That's part of it. I think another part of it is legacy, if you will. Big Mama cooked this sort of way. So grandma, that's how she learned to cook. Grandma taught mama, and mama more than likely is showing the new woman of the house, the wife, how to cook the exact same stuff. Now, with that being said, great granddaddy was outside working in the fields, or he did this, or he did whatever. He was constantly on the go all day long, sunshine, rain, shine, whatever it was. Rain, not rain, shine, but rain, whichever it was. So his body was constantly working. So even though he was eating bad stuff, he was able to sweat some of that stuff out. So them same health declines that we're experiencing now at an early age, they didn't experience until a later age. But once we got to the point where we can make enough, we don't have to worry about having to go out there and slaughter our food, clean it, cook it. We have to go out there chopping wood, doing all these things. A lot of that, society kind of provides for us. And we just, pay the price for not having to go out and do these things. We've actually got lazier. So with somewhat the same meals, in some cases, more of the same meals, it's affecting us worse now than it did 40 or 50 years ago. And then on top of all that, then you add in the cost of eating healthy. If you go in the grocery store and you're looking at just the produce section, you see an orange that costs $2.69 for that one orange, or you're looking at a bag of them over here for $1.99, which one you gonna grab? The one that had the most in it. Where that one that was more expensive, that's more organic. That's more straight out the ground to you versus whatever else that was added to these to grow them as fast. Because you really, that speaks a lot in itself. The fact that you can have the exact same product and it costs two different prices for them. And the only difference is one is organic and one is. So what makes the difference? A lot of times we don't pay attention to that. We just go for what economically works for us. Especially if you got a family that you're trying to feed, you're trying to make whatever last, and not knowing that this one that's cheaper is costing you in the long run. Be it hidden chemicals that were used in the ground to help fertilize it or to keep insects off of it, just to get to the store for it to last long enough for you to purchase it. All those things bring with them a cost. And if you're not aware of it, at the end of it, once you get later on in life, then you start seeing the actual cost of the money that you save by not buying organic. I mean, even if you even look at the organic orange, I'm gonna keep going back to that one. You look at the price of that and you see what that price is, but then you look at a carton of orange juice. They do not equate. You can't see an orange that costs, again, I'm just gonna say $1. How much juice can you get out there to equate to a half gallon of orange juice? And do the prices relate? They don't. And a lot of times we don't think about that. We just go and grab because we're trying to do everything economically. You got other bills you got to take care of along as well as feeding. And at the end of the week, you're figuring the refrigerator's full, freezer's full, got a little money saved aside, we're doing good. But you got to keep that in the back of your mind because you got to pay that cost at some point. And at some point really winds up being where you made a lot of bad choices unknowingly throughout the course of your life. And it's not just with orange juice, it's with the meats you eat, the vegetables, all these things play a factor in the end result, which is your health. And ultimately, that's where your wealth lies. It's not monetary. It's your health. Because if you don't have the health to match the money, then the money doesn't make a difference. You could have 5 million sitting in the bank, but if you ain't got but till the end of this month to live, what difference does the 5 million make? Nothing whatsoever. So that really needs to be something that's on our forefront. And I know it's a very delicate juggling act that you do between health and the money that you save or your wealth. But ultimately, what has to take precedence as much as possible is your wealth. I'm sorry, your health. Because you always got a chance to make your wealth back up. You can lose everything and you still can come into a windfall. But once your health starts to decline, past a certain point, you just kind of on that boat and you just got to ride that out.
No, that's facts, man. And, kind of wanted to speak on a couple things that was mentioned between both you and Jesse. We as men, we don't speak on our issues in a sense, and we have, and I think what a lot of it is what it's attributed to is, we're programmed to shake it off, to brush it off. I mean, you think about it as a kid, when you get hurt as a boy, it's, oh, shake it off, brush it off. You know what I mean? You're gonna be all right. So we're kind of, like I said, in that sense, we're programmed to not even speak to not even speak up on things that ail us, or that, if we get hurt, that, oh, you're all right. You know what I mean? Shake it off. You a big boy. That kind of thing. So it's like you're made to feel like those feelings aren't valid. Like you're not supposed to hurt. You're not supposed to feel nothing. So as you continue to grow older, you subconsciously do it yourself. You tell you, oh, this ain't nothing but a little, little back pain, or this ain't nothing but a little, leg pain, or, you might feel something in your chest and you just kind of, whatever. I'm not, that's nothing, but like I said, it comes from many, many years of programming. And also, speaking on, like I said, our women are typically the ones that feed us, that have fed us over the years. Like especially if you're in a relationship, if you're married, whatever, you're going, the woman is going to be the one that's pretty much putting the meals on the table for the most part. And what's crazy is, like, even in my when I was married, my wife, my ex-wife, my wife, when I was married, she was a vegetarian, but she would still cook me beef. She would still cook me meats and stuff like that. And it's a matter of, I can, because she knew what man doesn't like a good steak, or meat, potatoes. We enjoy those types of. It's a hearty meal. It's gonna fill us up. But my thing, I mean, there was a lot of stuff that I would eat that, she would make that wasn't carnivorish, if you will, or she would make stuff for me that some of the same stuff that she ate. But knowing that she was when it comes to cooking most of the food, and like, for the same reasons that you don't eat this kind of food, why would you want to feed that to me? you know, and that was one of the things that was I never really truly understood. I mean, I guess like I said, she knew that I liked a good steak or a roll server, but I'm sure if you want, but you want your man around, you want to make sure that you putting the good stuff in your body just like you putting and feeding him the good stuff like you feed yourself the good stuff. So, and kind of going back to what you said, Henry, as well, as a matter of the grandma or moms is teaching the daughter what food to cook, so she's cooking the pig and all the bad foods, showing her daughter what to cook. I mean, they even did that analogy. I don't know if it was on Soul Food. I'm sure you guys remember the movie Soul Food when Big Mama was in the hospital with sick with diabetes, but every time they would get together, they would do what? They would eat the same food that got Big Mama sick with diabetes. You know, um, and it's at some point we got to say, okay, wait a minute. We got to take a look at, like you said, we got to take a look at ourselves. We got to take a step back and say, what am I doing here? What is going on? Something needs to change? What needs to change? Okay, it starts with the food. And even though, like you just said, Henry, it costs more expensive. It's more expensive. But if you continue to pinch those pennies, you're going to pay in the long run. You will pay in the long run. I mean, I said something before. I forgot remember when I posted it, but trying to be cheap, too often could end up being more expensive. And that's pretty much exactly what we're saying. When you're trying to cut corners too much, you can cut the wrong corner, and then you're gonna end up paying more money anyway. And that comes with food. That comes with almost anything when you think about this. You think about how anything of value is going to be more expensive. It's going to be more expensive. It's going to cost you more. You look at Lamborghini, you look at these expensive cars, Mercedes, Lamborghinis, all that kind of stuff, Rolls Royces. They're more expensive, yes, 100%, but they last a lot longer. You don't, the maintenance is not as often, but that's because they use the most expensive parts. They use everything is top dollar. But yeah, not everybody can afford that. Of course, we know that. But that just kind of goes into what we're talking about. If you want to be healthy, you might have to spend a little bit more money, and that's the unfortunate part. But if you don't do it now, like you said, 10, 15 years from now, or whatever the time frame is, you could end up in that doctor's office, end up on that operating table when all you had to do was buy something that didn't have, like I said, as many chemicals. It was a lot better for you, but yeah, you might have. It might have been tight, but we gotta, in a sense, gotta start thinking about that. Okay, yeah, I know this is more expensive, but it's better for me, and I need to because we're gonna spend that money somewhere else, probably somewhere that we don't need to spend it. So um, yeah, like I said, it's and another thing is kind of like with the stat that you were saying, and I'll finish with this, but it's a matter of as Black people, our life expectancy is lower than a lot of other races. So we really have to be. We're already behind the eight ball, so we really have to be more diligent. I mean, that goes from years and years and years of the bad food that was fed that was fed to us, that was fed hereditary. So I mean, it becomes hereditary. Those different diseases and ailments and things like that get passed down from generation to generation, and especially when you continue to eat that bad food, it just compounds it. It's just like compounding interest. It just makes it even that much worse because until you decide to make that change and say, okay, I'm not going to eat this, then we're going to keep dealing with the same thing, man. So there's so many different variables, but the bottom line is we have to start being more diligent in what we eat and what we put in our body and how we take care of our body. Because, like I said, we're already behind almost every other ethnic group that there is, period. So, yeah, man, it's tough, but we gotta start doing it.
I can't agree more with both of you guys, man. Y'all hit some very valid points, man, and one of them that I want to seal off with what both of y'all had touched on. It was just a little saying for what I had heard about when we was talking about, it's hereditary. The conditions, the illnesses are hereditary, and it was said that the only thing is hereditary is the recipes. So the recipes, that's what's hereditary and what's getting to us. That's the first question. When I became diabetic, the first question was, is it hereditary? And is it hereditary? And my grandmother died from it. My uncle died from it, my grandpa. So I will always think in my mind, I'm like, okay, I got this is in my blood. This is us. I never once thought about the food, the pork and the things that was so good to us, because like that's what we was fed, like all the way back in the slave days and everything, man. It's like, they ate every part of the pork of the pig, so but that's all they had, and that's all, like what Henry was bringing out too, that's all you can afford. That's all you're going to grasp for, so now you got the dollar menus and, all of these things that, we think is bargain deals, but it's actually hurting us in the end because we keep adding it to our bodies and it's just not good, so even with these hidden sugars, these artificial flavors, that you look on the back of the label and it's like you're reading some Chinese letters. You don't know what it is. You don't know what's inside of it. So it shouldn't be in your body. If you can't read it, that's why I also know somebody said that if you can't pronounce it, you can't read it, it don't need to be in your body. So going with that, it's just understanding, where you are, because I remember I was getting a procedure done and they was looking at, that's when I was still wilding with, drinking a lot of alcohol, a lot of carbs. And I didn't, once I was diagnosed, I kind of went into like a little depression because I thought it was over. I thought I was going to be able to have it on me for life and I'm done. And so I just kind of wild a little bit, but the guy he had me and they was doing like a scope. They was putting a scope down my stomach. And he said, "Man, you 35 years old." I was 35 at the time. He was like, he said, I don't want to see you here. I don't want to be the anesthesiologist, the one that's cutting your leg off, in a couple of years, because you're getting it amputated and it struck with me, man. It stuck with me because I was like, man, I really got to make a change on some things that I need to do. And he was like, man, you need to stop eating this and stop eating that. And so it's only so much that you could keep telling a person, because we all think we young, we can, I got time, and everybody need to understand time is don't waste for you at all. So we don't have time. You need to do it now, And that's another thing I wanted to touch too. It was there was also talking about, the consumption of meat, eating so much of it. And then I'm not knocking nobody, and it's like moderation is very good for like, you can have stuff in moderation. But they was talking about us passing gas and all that, using the restroom. Number two, we're not supposed to smell, bro. We're not supposed to smell at all. And you think about it, the logic of what the guy was saying, he was saying, you putting a dead corpse inside of your body, it's gonna rot. It's gonna rot. So whenever I was eating fruits for 30 days, I noticed, it wasn't nothing. It's like, because it's electrifying. Those type of foods are electricity to the body. It strikes you, so you're able to feel better. You're more energized. You're not sluggish, so I would I would recommend, man, at least try like to get your fruit intake a lot more, a lot more fruit intake, eat a lot more vegetables. Just add it to, if you're going to do your protein, do your protein. I'm not knocking it, like I said, but watch your consumption of it, how much you put inside of your body, because it can affect you in the long run, so just going off those things, man. And just like that, I love talks like this. We able to like dive into that and be honest with ourselves and know, the necessary changes that we all need to make on certain things. We all could tighten up a little bit, but even with eating, you need to get moving too, man. Go take a walk. Do a little something, walk around the house. Or if you can't, like my mom, she's kind of limited to how much she can walk, but she gets up every morning, bro, and walk around her living room, walk around her kitchen, and that's her lap. She do like a few laps. And the last time I was down there, she said, "Come on, join me." So I joined her. I walked around a few, man. I said, "Mom, how many you do, man?" Because we was on like 20 around that time. I'm like, golly, I'm kind of out of breath a little bit, but she was still rolling, bro. So like, it's just something. It's something like to keep your blood poop moving, keep it pumping, and eat the right things. You can prolong yourself and be here. And one more thing, always have, what is your motivation? Like, who are you doing this for? Like, you have a kid, you have a son, you have a daughter, a mom, a dad, somebody like that's worth you being here. Think about that. Like, that person is well enough for me to be here. So that's more motivation for me to get up and got to do what I got to do, to make sure I'm here to be there for those people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. It's true. It's like, what's your why? That's what it comes down to. What is your why when it comes to living, going to work every day, bringing, what is your why? And it's important to know that and have that at the forefront. That way, and so just like you said, we know we all can do better. I know I can. I definitely need to start doing better. Um, and it's just a matter of I need to start keeping that why to the forefront. Always be it if it's a post-it note, somewhere that has it on there, like on my laptop right here or in my mirror, some have it posted in different areas somewhere that it's by the fridge, you know, somewhere that you're gonna see it all the time, and it's gonna have you making second guessing a bad decision that you could make, especially when it comes to eating. That's highly important. And kind of speaking to what you were saying too, Jess, about uh, putting it like when you eat dead flesh, you put the dead corpse inside your body. And that's why they say, eating fruits and vegetables and stuff like that is so good for you, because they're still living, they're still, you know, it's a living organism to a degree, so it's only, you eat life, you're going to get life. If you eat death, you're going to get death, So if you, like say, if you're putting dead animals in your body all the time, how do you think you're going to, how do you think that's going to add to your life expectancy? you know. And yeah, it's protein, but it's a secondary protein, like they animals, I mean, like I said, we all need protein, but it's a matter of where the stuff that they're putting in their bodies, like I said, it's supposed to be, grass or whatever. Like there's other ways that we can get our protein. We don't necessarily need to eat meat. You know what I mean? Like we can get our proteins from other places. And that's what we have to realize. But like I said, we just live in such a hyper sensory, time where stuff is so, they make it so easy to eat bad food. It's so easy to eat stuff that we know we probably shouldn't have. But like I said, it's highly palatable. It looks delicious to the eyes. Like I said, it's sensory overload. We're just it's put in our face, and it looks good. So you get your mouth watering, and you like, man, that looks delicious, and so you feel like you have to have it. And that's part of that's part of the problem. But we have to be diligent and just make better choices. We have to be stronger than in a sense, our mental has to be stronger than our emotions to a degree, as I say. Um, we just got to be smart, and it's difficult. It's very difficult. But I always often think about how Tom Brady, how he played for so long. You look at how LeBron James is able to play for so long. You look at even Jordan. I mean, you look at all these different athletes. Now, granted, they have the money, so to speak, but still, it's still a mentality though, because you got people who have access to all that, but they're not as great. But it's still a mentality. You have to have that mentality of like, you know what, this your why. It goes back to your why. Your why has to be greater than any and everything else that you know. Yeah, that burger might look good. Even The Rock, you look at The Rock, he'll have his cheat. Because I follow him on Instagram, he'll have his cheat meal Sundays, but it's not nothing that's too extreme, too bad. It'll be like what do you call it, his rock toast or whatever, where it's
Pancakes taller than a dictionary.
right. But it's like the stuff that it's made with is probably really natural ingredients, nothing too it's not preservative filled. Even when it comes down to the syrup that he puts on it, it still has its natural state. So like I said, there's ways that we can do it. We just have to be willing to make those changes, make those adjustments, and just be willing to be, like I said, stronger mentally than that good meal that we just seen on TikTok, that viral meal that we just seen on that everybody's trying, and we know it's filled with preservatives, filled with bad, other bad ingredients. We just got to be, like I said, that why has to be up here. Why, that it might look good, but not my why is more important, and it's something that has to be done. So,
And that tends to come down to economic choices. And I can speak from experience where the economic choice sometimes overpowers the health. Just for the past few weeks, past couple months, my son was playing sports. He was playing basketball. His games on Monday and Tuesday. And the games could be anywhere from 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, or 8 o'clock at night. The game is going to be an hour long. And the distance that we were from home, maybe 20, 25 minutes. So at the games at 7 o'clock weren't that bad because, we could all shoot home real quick, already had dinner cooked. All we had to do was warm up real quick. Everybody eat nice dinner, go out to the game, come back. But if you got a game that's happening at 6 and they just get out of school and it's going to take us rush hour traffic an hour to get home, you don't have time to get home. So then what you do, you look at one of the fast food places and you try to pick the healthiest option out of them. But even in doing that, now you're thinking about when we get ready to leave out, we coming out during rush hour trying to make it to this game. Do we go with the flow of traffic or try to go against traffic? So if you say with the flow of traffic, now you're limited to everything that's on this side of the street. And then you make a healthier option out of those. Now, if that's not the case and you actually got a later game, which was the 7 o'clock, again, you could eat out or you could try to wait till you get back home. And if the game is over at, let's see, if it was at 7 o'clock, getting over at 8, you get home 8:30 or closer to 9. Now you keep the kids up for a while you warm up dinner to feed them, or you find them something quick to eat? It's just that tug and war back and forth. And grant that's only happened a couple times a week, but still, it's instances like that that put those hurdles ahead of you being able to make the best decision, the right decision that you should make over the best decision that you have to make at that particular point in time. It's and that's just my example of it, but I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people with younger kids who have to make those decisions. And granted, me and my wife are both lucky enough where we work during the day and we're home in the evenings. Now, add in the fact that you got a parent that's not even there because they're at work, then that's a whole nother gamut. Because the caveat to that whole scenario could very well be, well, one of us could just stay home, make sure dinner's ready, so when everybody come back home. But then there's a parent that's not being a part of the child other activities. So there's always this game that's being played, and you got to figure out what's the best course of action for it. What's going to play the back seat? And most time enough, we'll say the health, because they're going to eat right for the rest of the week, or this is only for right now. But you're setting a precedence. What you're doing inadvertently, you don't realize at that point, is saying that this is okay. It's okay for us to eat 3 or 4 hot dogs a piece at night. That ain't right. Ain't nothing about that right. But because of the situation, it what makes it acceptable.
Absolutely. Kind of just speaking to that.
I totally agree with you. No, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was just saying, it's just like I definitely agree with that, man. And it's like with me, I don't have small kids, but I don't have any children in the home. But like with me, for instance, I work a 12-hour shift sometime. I might go to work at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning and not get home till 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, maybe sometime. But then I know I got to get back up. I got to go. I got to be, I got to go to sleep by say 8:30 or so. Am I trying to spend an hour in the kitchen, cooking something up when I know I need to kind of decompress. I need to, really chill and just kind of get my mind off of the day. Or do I want to, okay, let me go, like you said, make a decision about, okay, which one of these restaurants are the healthiest choice that I can make right now? Boom, let me hit up Chipotle. You know what I'm saying? Something that's not, it's fast food, but it's, it's still healthy-ish, which is going to save me a good 45 minutes. So I can actually, like I said, take a shower. I can relax. I can kind of get my mind off of the day and just, like I said, really decompress. Because I know I got to go to sleep in an hour and a half. Or if I want to, do I really want to spend an hour in the kitchen cooking something up, and then it's going to take me another 30 minutes to eat, 20 minutes, 30 minutes to eat. I don't want to scarf it down. Because if I'm eating fast, that's not attributed to good health either. So,
right.
It's just one of those things that you, like I said, you have to make that decision. You have to make that right choice. And I know one of the things that I need to start doing is meal prepping. On my days off, like this week, I got Wednesday and Thursday off. I need the meal prep. Even it might be the same. I might be eating the same thing for a week straight, whatever. But I need to get more disciplined in that aspect so I could free up, not have to worry about, okay, boom, I can come right home, throw it in the oven real quick, 10, 15 minutes, or, in the air fryer, 10 minutes, whatever, in the microwave. We got to get away from using the microwave too, but that's a whole nother, conversation. But something, you said what?
I'm sorry, I was about to cut you off. I was going to say anything made to speed up the convenience ain't healthy.
It ain't healthy. Exactly. So, but yeah, it's just a matter of just being more diligent, being more, just understand that, it comes down, it pretty much all comes down to choice. And I got to make that choice to say, you know what, this is the best thing for me to do right now. Let me go ahead and do it. Let me do it. And the more that you start making those decisions, the easier they're going to be. It's just like they say, it's just about taking that first step. The first step is typically the hardest. But once you make that, It's like when they say, you know, going to you be dreading going to the gym sometime, but as soon as you get there, you be glad you be glad you went. You know, so it's a matter of just like I said, just taking that first step and saying, okay, I know it's difficult, but let me go ahead and do it. And then once you do it that first time, it's gonna be easier to make it that second time. Then the third time, then the fourth, it's gonna get a lot easier. So it's just a matter of making it happen, making that decision. And once you know, like I said, you have to treat yourself every now and then because otherwise you're gonna feel you don't want nobody wants to feel like they're you're prison to you know or a slave to the whole idea of you know getting healthy. Of course, like I said, you want to do it, but make sure that that one decision doesn't tip you over to the other side of the scale. That doesn't tip you over to the other side like, oh man, that was a good. No, it's about if you go 3 weeks and you're eating right and you're you know what I mean, treat yourself once, but treat it with treat yourself with something that's not all I guess you say, not all the way on the other side of that spectrum. You know what I mean? Make sure it's something that's still quote unquote healthy for you, but at the same time, it's still kind of satisfying an indulgence to a degree. You know, if that makes sense. Not, you know, all the way tipped on that other side of the scale because if it hits them, you know, them taste buds too much and it tastes too good, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna be like, oh, I gotta have that again. And it might force you back into that into doing bad. So yeah, you have to treat yourself every now and then, but just make sure that you're being smart about those choices. And yeah, it's
Yeah. Yeah.
thumbs up.
You know, just go back on what Henry was saying too as well, because I have a big household myself and we had like sports going on. One thing that helped us too, man, because I just thought about it, because before you know it, you spending so much money on fast food, you know, like that late nights and stuff like that. So what we started doing was using the crock pot, man, putting it on low, crock pot dinners, throw that thing in the pot, and by the time everybody get home or whatever, all you gotta do is kind of cut it off really and put it on low or whatever. But that was something that helped us. Like with those nights like that, man, we just threw everything in the crock pot and that's what we ate on. You know, so that little stuff like that is just like stuff that can help you, you know, and save a good bit of money and time, you know, just doing that. Just let the pots do it work for themselves. That's what they're there for, you know. So and another thing, tomorrow, me and my wife starting our fruit diet. So we're gonna do 10 days. And I'm doing 10 days of being active as well. So either that ride my bike or it's going to the gym. It's something I'm just gotta keep moving. So that's what I want to do. So that's just something to start back and boost my health back where it needs to be. And I don't mind being a leader, you know. So that's why, like a lot of times, God put things on us, and it be for other people. So a lot of times we just gotta pay attention to the signs and do what we do, you know, just so we can still be here, like we said. So, but yeah, man, try that crock pot method, man. It might help you out a little bit.
Oh,
No,
we
you're
did
absolutely
that.
right. Yeah. Go
We
ahead.
did that as well.
Yeah, that crock pot is definitely, I mean, because I had one for a good while. And then when I moved, you know, I said I in a homeless situation, and then you know didn't have much space for too much stuff. But now you know that I need to just get another whole nother. That's why I got an air fryer too to kind of cut down on you know frying up stuff in different in oils and all that. Um, but yeah, I'm definitely going to
Like
check
those.
those.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead. What was saying?
I like the air fryers. The only drawback I got with them is they take a while, but it takes the grease out of it, it takes the radiation out of it. It just hot air and just cooks. As far as I know, it takes the radiation out of it. Be my luck, somebody pop up tomorrow with a report saying just as dangerous as a microwave or worse. But I like them. It just takes a while. That's all. But we have tried the crock pot thing, and but it's just also, I guess the thing was the kids also had a bedtime of about 9 o'clock. So if we get home 8:30, that's a tough one for them to eat that heavy and go to bed and expect to be able to wake them up tomorrow. So, but the
Yeah.
thing is, I guess to have the mindset overall of trying to live healthier, because that's the one commodity we can't get back is the time. And early on, you learn healthy habits of how to eat healthy and be healthy, exercise, get not do things. It'll carry you further in life. Because once that check engine light come on, you got a whole different set of bills you're gonna have to deal with, and they're just gonna keep progressing increasingly. So it's easy to get out ahead in front of it, be active, eat a little heavier. Excuse me, eat a little healthier, and not to say that you can indulge here and there, but you got to understand this ain't for all the time. Like when you think a lot of these fast food places have these different value meals, they are not thinking about your pocketbook as far as you saving money. Their thought process with it is to get that dollar out of you. And they've marketed in so many different ways. They've made this unhealthy food. They'll slap the word family in the middle of this meal to make you think that they're doing you a favor. Their job is to get your money. Nobody is in business to solely help you. They got in the business to make money. If they help you, there's a byproduct, and they chalk that up as a win. But that ain't by no means is that the reason why they got in the business. So you got to keep that in mind when you make your choices.
Absolutely, man. It's like I forget somebody said it, but a lot of this stuff isn't even food. They're food products.
Yeah.
They're food products, which is a reason why a lot of these companies, like say, they might come back in 5, 10, 15 years and admitted that mercury was in the food or something bad was in the, except it's a lot of it's not even food anymore. It's food products, so they can get away with stretching the stretching the truth or feeding us different things. I mean, you think about when they said that they were gonna start giving us the clone meat. You know, like for real, like you guys is really about to. I remember that was one of the big things that Cat Williams was talking about. When it was comedy specials, like you guys really gonna give us the clone meat? You ain't gonna, try it on some, I mean, he was making a joke out of you ain't gonna try it on some, some third world countries or the ones who ain't who are the people who are starving. You just gonna sell it directly to us, you know?
Be the big consumer.
Yeah,
Again, they do it to make money.
yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's just crazy how they are able to do that kind of stuff because, like I said, it's not even considered food. It's a food product. So we got to be smart and said eat. Said if and somebody said some to the point that if it has more than 5 ingredients in it, you shouldn't even be eating it. Like 5 ingredients is when it comes to if it's um, packaged foods or something like that. When so if it has more than 5 ingredients and if you can't like you said, just if you can't pronounce what's on the packaging. Nah, because all of those different ides, like where they say, fluorides, cinnamonides, whatever. Who knows what there's so many of them. But if you can't even pronounce them, you shouldn't even be bothering putting it in your system. But it's difficult, man. Like,
You know, years ago, I was diagnosed with high blood pressure. It was like the same night I had an accident. So yeah, of course my blood pressure was up. Anyway, long story short, on the medicine, and I got to a point where I started making it a point to read labels. Companies tell you everything that you need to know. It's up to you to be able to know how to interpret the information that you read, be it salt content, sugar content, All these things is labeled on the packaging. First and foremost, if there's something that you're willing to intake at this point in the US and you don't see that information on the back of it, unless you know it's from a reputable source, like they picked it straight off the tree, put it in this bag, and here you go, I'd stay away from it. Now, with that being said, it'll give you how much the sugar content or the salt content is, but what you also have to look at is the top left hand that corner is serving size. Because it might say a bag of potato chips only has like 13 grams of sodium per serving, but hell, it might be 50 servings in that bag. So once you go and do the math on that, it's an astronomical amount of sodium that's in that particular package, depending on how far you eat. And in all honesty, let's just say, for argument's sake, that is 10 chips in a serving. Who sitting down eating 10 chips?
10 chips.
Right. You probably about going in half the bag or better. So multiply that. It's astronomical. But that's the type of mindset you have to have with everything that you put into your body. And I mean, it's across the board. Like, I remember me and my wife were dating, and a radio station, I'm flipping the radio around. We was out of town, riding around, doing whatever. And there was a talk show, and they were talking about the levels of high fructose corn syrup that was in sodas and all these different products, and how it was driving up cases of diabetes, this, that, and the third. And I know I have diabetes on both sides of my family. And at that point in time, that mindset was, okay, well, if I cut that high fructose corn syrup out, then I'm limiting the chance of me catching it or either prolonging it. Well, it prolonged it for a while, because this was like early to mid 30s when I had heard this. And I wasn't diagnosed until 49, 50, somewhere there. And all I did was I cut sodas out completely, cold turkey. Didn't mess with them. Now, I didn't think about the likes of sport drinks. I'm thinking that was a safe option, but it's not. It's still within that same category. It's just not as well. I can't even say not as bad, but because it doesn't have the ingredients listed out the same way that the sodas did, I thought it was a healthier source, but just the same. I guess the other side of the same sword, so to speak. But I did manage to hold the diabetes off for years. The hidden side to that was me dropping sodas. My blood pressure dropped from where it was running 150 something over 90, it dropped to like 130. And it wasn't because I was being more active or anything else. All I did was just cut sodas out. So if you can keep that in mind, it's so many things that we put into our body, and it just builds and builds and builds and compounds until it turns into some illness. And we'll do things to try to inadvertently, and maybe not even maybe subconsciously, to hide such illnesses, that we pay attention to it. We could do something about it ahead of time. Like if you start getting heavier, you start to realize where it's always hot, you got to have the air conditioner on. You always got to stay cooler. Or if you just break out and sweat, your body is trying to get rid of that stuff as best as it can. You just ain't comfortable in how it's doing it. So we're going to have the fan blowing on high and have the air conditioner set on about 60 just so you can stay comfortable and not sweat. And you just steadily swelling up. You got to be careful what you eat or drink first thing in the morning, because it's going to upset your stomach. All these things is your body telling you, hey, man, look, something wrong with me. Help. You're killing me here. But we don't pay attention to it. We just still doing the same thing. And we still going to lead down the exact same path. You got to pay attention to what your body's telling you.
Yeah, because it definitely will tell you. It will definitely tell you right away. Like, so you eat something and it's ready to leave right away. That tells you right then and there. It ain't for you. You drink something or you eat something, you start sweating right away. your body's telling you right then and there, that's not for you, you know. So yeah, definitely got to pay attention to our bodies, man. So
Yeah.
yes, sir. Any final words we want to speak before we, you know? Well,
I would just say, uh, um, get an understanding because everybody's different. Everybody's body is different. Everybody's reaction is different. But understand that you're and why you want for
you cutting out.
those people are dependent on you. You can hear me?
Yeah, okay, we're here now.
Straight down.
Okay. Those people are dependent on you, man. The people that love you, man. So understand that you are their motivation a lot of time. Like you have to be that, you have to motivate yourself sometimes because you're not going to get it sometimes from other people. You might have to motivate yourself to go do these things and go exercise and get the moving and eat right. So we all have an opportunity. We all have a chance. Like Tyrus brought up earlier, you know, meal prep. If you one of those people that's active like us, on the go all day, you know, meal prep, man, that help you to not make bad decisions as far as eating too as well. You could pass up McDonald's and Sonic and all these places because you know you got this at home that's more healthier for you. So I would just say know your numbers, man, and stay active, eat right, and you know we all in it together. So we all in this together.
Absolutely. And I think you know, it's one of those things that, like I said, man, we just gotta be, we have to keep, like you were saying, Jess, we gotta keep that why in front of us, but just be more diligent in our choices. You know, make sure that we're actively making the right decision that we know is going to be beneficial for us in the long run. You know, a lot of times we'll want, you know, it's a lot of times that stuff is just an immediate gratification or satisfaction to a degree. But we got to make sure that whatever we choose to do, that we're like, okay, is this in the long run, is this something that I should be eating? Is this something that I should be putting in my body? So I think that's highly important. And also, you know, if you I mean, we're here to do what we can to keep each other accountable. I feel like this is an accountability group, but if you have somebody that you can, that's in your life directly, you know, have some, in a sense, some sort of consequence, you know, because a lot of times there's nobody, there's no consequence for what we're doing. There's nothing. So it's like if we eat something bad, okay, who's going to stop us from doing that? A lot of times, you know, nobody. But if we have somebody that we can, in a sense, count on that's directly in our lives, if they catch us eating something bad or drinking something bad, or you know, it's up. You owe me $10, or you know what I mean. Just set something up to where you can hold yourself accountable. I think we talked about this before too, Jess. But just set something set something up to where you can be held accountable if you do go outside of those realms that you've set up. You know, like putting stuff on social media and stuff like that is important because you're telling the world this is what you're going to do. So a lot of times, I mean, when it comes to setting a goal, or if it's, you know, something that you want to achieve, by telling everybody and their mama, but telling everybody, it's like, okay, well, damn, I done told everybody this is what I'm going to do. So if I don't do it, what I'm going to look like, you know? So it's just about, like I said, just if you have somebody that you can have directly in your life, that's that can hold you accountable. And like I said, you tell them like, okay, I'm not going to eat fast food for the next 2 weeks or the next 3 weeks or a month or whatever, and just be straight up. Don't lie about it. Don't step out. Don't lie about it. Say if they got to come by the house every day to check to see if you ate something wrong, or just like I said, it sets something up to where you can have somebody to hold you accountable, and after a period of time, you're not even gonna need that person. You're gonna be able to hold yourself accountable. You're gonna be like, you know what, I'm good. So I think those are two highly important things, and these are things that I'm going to work on myself, because I know, like when you see old pictures of yourself when you thought you was big, and then you look at yourself now, or you see years later. Like I seen a picture of myself online the other day, and I looked at him like, and like I said, I'm 275 right now, 276, and I was like 240 back then. And I just look so much thinner. So, you know what I mean? I look like healthier, and it's not nothing that I can't do now to get back to it. Only thing got to do is just to get buckle down and say, okay, nah. And because a lot of times that'd be motivation. When you see, like I said, it wasn't like it was 20 years ago, 15 years ago. It was like 5 years ago, 3 years ago. And I looked, not to say I look bad now, but I mean, if I know I want to be I know I want to be at a different weight. I want to be close to that weight. When you see those images, it's, man, gotta do what you gotta do to get back to it, man. It might be difficult at first, but said you get on the roll and you're gonna be good. So yeah, just somebody to hold you accountable, and just being more diligent in your choices. Yeah, that should definitely help a lot. Like you said, Henry, cut out sodas, cut out juices, those different beverages, those sports drinks, those artificial sugars, So, yeah.
I would say to all of this is, you got to start somewhere, and you don't necessarily have to start at the rock bottom. You just got to start. I remember seeing a post back here, maybe around the same time I met Jess. It was all the rage was the watermelons, the grapes, and whatnot without seeds. In the comment section, somebody was like, "Well, I'm not eating it if it don't have seeds." But I get that side of it too, but you got to start somewhere, and you can always pivot and do the absolute right thing. The biggest roadblock I see to progress is perfection. People figure they got to do it exactly right to start with. You got to start somewhere. And from that point on, build on it, because you don't know enough to start with. In all honesty, if we all went out right now and jumped directly on a strict diet, no GMO, no salt, no sugar, no this, no that, we might make it a day, 2 days, because it's such a drastic change. Your body, your mind just ain't ready for all that yet. Now, I mean, there's some people that's just carved out a whole different type of stone that they might be able to jump on that and ride, but the majority of us, that ain't us. We used to gravy. We used to, 10 cups of sugar to a gallon of Kool-Aid. It's just certain things, once you take that away, it don't feel like this is anything that you want to be a part of. It seems more like punishment. But you have to start somewhere. You got that's all part of the learning process. As you see the difference that you're able to make, and small, subtle changes make a huge difference. You getting out and being a little more active in the morning, afternoons, whatever free time you got, you eat a little better, you see your body change, start making changes. But you just gotta start somewhere. And what we are trying to provide here with these conversations is a platform where we can sit around and talk about this, and the listeners themselves, they can get 4 different perspectives, or 3 tonight. Shout out to Corey.
Shout
3
out.
different perspectives of the exact same issue and how we deal with it, how we view it. And they'll be able to apply it according to themselves. That they're not out here by themselves. There is a resource where if they have questions, they can come and ask us. Not to say that we experts on it, but this is some of the same stuff that we dealing with. And if we can help you find a better way of achieving your goals, then cool. Even if it's no more than what we learned or we read about at a particular place, and you going to do your own research there. If we can help you there, then still, that's a great day. Because we all going through this at the same time. We all living this real time. And it's something that all of us are going to have to deal with at some point in time in our life.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. You got to start somewhere. You got to take that first step. Like I said, that first step might be the most difficult one, but as soon as you make it, you put one in front of that one in front of that one. Next thing you know, you off to the races, man. So it's like you said, we're here to help each other. We're here to make sure that we can all grow. And if you need somebody to help you be accountable, we're here for that as well. So yeah, we just appreciate everybody checking in, and those who watched last week's episode. We appreciate, like I said, it was the first episode that we aired on YouTube, that we put on YouTube. So said everything's gonna be on there from now on, and we're gonna still do what we can to get some, bits and some stuff on social media. But YouTube, the Bro Foundation. Like I said, we appreciate everybody tapping in with us and continuing to grow with us as we continue to elevate and just provide whatever information we can, gems, jewels, and insight. That's what it comes down to. So, like I said, we appreciate everybody, continues to tap in, and yeah, join us on the next conversation, Bro Foundation, profound conversations with brothers across the nation. Until next week, y'all. Peace.
Peace.
Yep.